what's up, you guys? Bet you were wondering where I've been. So, what's been going on since the last vlog update? To be honest with you, not a whole lot. Just life. You know, sometimes life gets away from you. You get wrapped up in the everyday things, and stuff like vlogging tends to get put on the back burner. During the last few weeks, though, one big thing did happen, though, and that was actually this past weekend. Mike Baining and I were in Philadelphia running a workshop there, and it was part of our Mirrorless Adventures meetup group, one of those workshops, and it was an incredibly great time. Let me just say right now, never mind the fact that Mike and I run our own series of workshops, I'm just going to tell you, in general, you should go out and participate in a workshop. It doesn't have to be one of ours, just anybody's workshop. It is it's a great experience. You know, it's the perfect way to learn. It's the perfect way to be around like-minded people. It is the perfect way to escape, you know, your everyday routine and do something for yourself and for your craft. So let me just say that, you know, I'm advertising for everyone's workshops at this point. Just go do it. You owe it to yourself. You put a lot of work and love into the art of photography, and no better way to further your skill set than to go on a workshop, you know, and learn along with other people. And, you know, I'll take this opportunity to say as well, you know, and I say this after every workshop that I do, I think I learn as much being an instructor as the students do. You know, I always take something away from a workshop. They're a wonderful experience. You know, you meet the greatest people. It was so fun. You know, it was so much more fun than I would have thought. That everybody was so nice. And, you know, if you're one of the workshop attendees and you're watching this, you know, thank you guys. You know, you were incredible. We had the best, I want to call them hosts. Even though they were workshop attendees, there were a couple of people that were local to Philadelphia that they assisted us with, you know, great places to park, you know, secondary locations to shoot at, you know, when things didn't work out how you might expect them to. Great places to eat. Melrose Diner in South Philly, phenomenal. Great place to eat, and the atmosphere was just spectacular. It was an incredible venue, you know. And I, of course, have to take a moment here to call out by name Victoria Diaz. She's, I think Mike said he met her, I think it might have been a Chicago workshop. He met her somewhere in a workshop a few years ago, and through Mike I became friends with her, and she's been to Michigan on one of our workshops, and because she lives in Pennsylvania, she's not far from Philadelphia where she lives. She was there for our workshop, and not only was she there for our workshop, behind the scenes she did a lot of organizing for our workshop. And, you know, and I know Mike feels exactly like I do. There is no way we could have run it as well as it ran without Vicky's help. So you're an angel, Vicky. We love you so much. Thank you so much for everything you do for us. We're extremely grateful for that. Okay, I'll stop gushing now, and I'll just start talking about the Philly workshop, what it was, what we did, what went as planned and what didn't go as planned. So basically this was just your typical workshop setting, you know, where we had a few different locations picked out for each day, and, you know, it was a pretty wide range of subject matter. So day one had us starting out at Eastern State Penitentiary, which is this really old stone-walled prison that is now no longer in use as a prison, but is open to tours for people to come in, and it is really a popular spot for photographers to visit. So if you're ever in Philadelphia, you owe it to yourself to check out Eastern State Penitentiary. Very cool place. And I'll just take a second to show you guys some images that I shot while at Eastern State Pen. And after Eastern State Pen wrapped up, we thought it might be kind of cool to get out of there and there was a Bastille Day celebration going on, and which I know you're probably thinking, Philadelphia, Bastille Day. Well, it's just kind of one of those things that they've been doing for, I think, about 25 years now there in Philadelphia, and we expected it to be this huge celebration, you know, thousands of people. We just were under the impression that it was going to be this really big deal, and while it was fun, it was far from a big deal. It was actually very small, and I don't know if it was, you know, some trepidation because of the events that happened in France, which were horrible, and it's disgusting to think that something like that could alter, you know, our attitudes here as far as, you know, letting it get us down and keeping us from celebrating, you know, that celebration here. But whatever, regardless, it just didn't turn out to be big. So again, this is where having local people who are so open to helping and making sure that, you know, we all have a good time and things to shoot, made suggestions that we end up, you know, over towards the Museum of Art, Philadelphia Museum of Art, which, if you're somebody who has seen the Rocky movies, specifically the first Rocky movie, you'd recognize the Museum of Art there in Philadelphia as the place where Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, ran up the stairs, you know, during his big workout scene. So we kind of went there and hung out. We stopped at, and I'm going to get this wrong, and I should have researched before I ran my mouth, but I know it's the Rodin, and I don't know if it's a museum or if it's like a sculpture park or what it was exactly, but just my camera here. But the sculptor Rodin had this place there. Anyways, really cool building, phenomenal sculptures there, and a really cool reflecting pool, which you can see here. And that was, you know, a place for us to go to kind of get out of the heat, because something that I didn't mention yet is that it was freaking hot. I mean, it was in the low 90s, high humidity, and that humidity ultimately got to be so high that it ended up turning into rain and thunderstorms. And rain it did. Holy cow. So when we were at the Museum of Art, it let loose, and I'm talking humongous raindrops, torrential downpour. Half of our group was trapped at the top of the stairs under overhangs. The other half was down below trying to shelter under some trees, along with hundreds of other tourists in the area. And you would think that with that kind of rain that we got, which I'm not kidding, it was just gigantic raindrops and really heavy, you'd think that it would have cooled it off. Not so much. It actually just got more and more humid. I think we surpassed 100% humidity and went straight into imaginary numbers like 120%. So from there we decided that it was getting close to our break for the day, and we were gonna go back to the hotel, and, you know, everybody could get some rest, maybe like a 20-minute nap like I did. So we get back to the cars, and it was thundering and lightning. It was just so wild. And that was our break time, you know. And then the next thing that we were going to do was going to be nighttime shooting or evening shooting. And there's a place in Philly called Boathouse Row, and it's on the Schuylkill River. Yes, I said it correctly, Schuylkill, even though it doesn't look like it's spelled that way. It's this iconic setting where these homes that are right along the river there, and they're all done up in really pretty lights. And if you just Google Boathouse Row, you'll find a million images like we were going to be shooting there that night. And just prior to that, you know, that event for us, we find out through someone's news feed that Boathouse Row was going to have no lights on. And that's pretty much the only reason you go there at night, is because of the way they're lit up. I guess that as part of the Democratic National Convention that was going to be there this upcoming weekend, they decided to redo the lighting there because it was due anyways for new lights. They decided to switch it over and make it all LED lights, so they weren't on. That was the big reason we were going to that spot, was to shoot Boathouse Row at night with lights, and there were no lights. As we're headed to that location, we're thinking, well, maybe the lights will be on. There's a chance they might be on. Rumor had it that the night before they were on, so we thought possibly, worst case scenario, maybe we could shoot sunset, because if you're looking towards the homes, that is where the sun is setting. That is west of where we were positioned. So we get set up there, and as we were walking up, I uttered aloud, I don't know if to myself, or I don't remember if I was telling somebody, it would be great if these storms that look like they're showing up on the radar would provide some lightning against the city skyline, the Philadelphia skyline. And as we're setting up to shoot, I see a flash of light. Where was the flash of light? The flash of light was over the city skyline. We were getting lightning. So the mad dash was on to see if a live composite was going to work, if it was dark enough at that point to do a live composite, which it was. So then it was a mad dash to make sure that all of our workshop attendees were set up properly to do live composite. For those who had the ability to do live composite, sadly, we had a couple of people who weren't able to shoot live composite. One of whom is a Canon user, Joshua, and I think after that he might be pretty interested in an Olympus body after seeing how easy it was for us to shoot lightning. So I'll just take a second to show you one of my lightning photos here, and that was shot facing out. That was let me think here, we weren't even at the Spring Arbor Bridge yet, which was one of the spots we were going to go stop to shoot the skyline initially. This was actually shot from near Boathouse Row. And yeah, it was quite the perfect situation. You know, we bombed out on Boathouse Row lights and ended up with lightning across the city. I mean, it was beautiful. I couldn't have asked for anything better. You know, so that was pretty much how we wrapped up day one. You know, was we went from what we wanted to something we weren't sure about, to what we didn't want again, to something that was even better than we could have asked for. And after the lightning, actually, we did work our way over to Spring Arbor Bridge and shoot more of the city skyline from there. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. And then the next day was kind of a wrap-up. This was a whirlwind workshop for Mike and I. We flew in on a Friday, worked all day Saturday into Saturday night, got up Sunday morning, shot sunrise of the Philadelphia skyline, which was great, and I did a cool time lapse, which you can see right here. And after the time lapse was done running, I shot some still photos. From there, we worked our way over to the Navy shipyard, where it looks like they have decommissioned ships, which I should probably again do my research so I can tell you exactly what I'm showing you in these photos. And then from there, it was, you know, that was pretty much about it. You know, we were done. It was a wonderful time. Again, I can't explain it enough how great it was to be around passionate photographers and getting to show people new ways to use their camera. And I think the highlight of my trip, you know, was one of the ladies who was there, Robin. I had spoken with her a couple of times in the past about live composite, trying to get her set up with it and get her, you know, understanding how it works and, you know, how to use it best, you know, what settings to use. And she had decided she was coming to the workshop so that we could work on it. And her first live composite photo at that workshop was a city skyline full of lightning bolts. I mean, that made the whole experience for me right there, was seeing the back of Robin's camera and seeing that shot, and then seeing her post it on Facebook. And I was just like, yeah, that's why we do this. That's why I do workshops. That's why I like to teach, to see people get shots that they want to get. It was pretty cool. So I guess that's about it. You know, that's like Philly in a nutshell. You know, it was, oh, and I had a cheesesteak. How the heck could I not mention that? I went to Philadelphia. Of course, I had a cheesesteak. A legit, authentic Philly cheesesteak. I guess that's it. What else can I say? I can say that Mike and I are working on, we're actually seriously talking about basically doing live comp workshops. It's such a highlight for the groups of people that we've worked with, you know, whether it was out of Chicago or working with people in Detroit on workshops, or Mike's done them, I think in Phoenix maybe, and then now this one in Philadelphia. And I'm thinking that a format of just a one-night quick workshop, you know, a couple of hours of class time and maybe like 4 or 5 hours of live comp work at a couple of different locations. I'm thinking that's something we're going to do. You know, I'm thinking that if you're interested in having a live comp workshop in your city, you should reach out to Mike and I and let us know. We're really looking for cities that are conducive to live comp. You know, we'd like maybe cities that have some sort of locations where you can be above, you know, streets or the city itself, you know, to shoot, as well as places that have interesting intersections to shoot at night. So reach out to us if you think your city would be a great host location for it. And if you don't have a city that would be a great location for it, but you want to travel to one, just keep following Mike and I over on Mirrorless Adventures on Meetup. So just go to Meetup and search for Mirrorless Adventures, or just keep watching this channel, because as soon as we figure out a few more cities and dates, I'll talk about it here. Sorry again that it's taken me so long to do a vlog update. I know it's been a minute, but I suppose you understand. Life gets busy, and some things are priority, some aren't. I'll talk to you guys later, and thanks for watching as always. If you're not subscribing, all you gotta do is hit that button, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Well, you know, I was gonna actually go upstairs and start editing this vlog, and remembered that I promised my wife I'd do some yard work. So behind us, you've seen in some of my videos, there's a granary with these big tall grain silos, and I always say those are behind my house. Well, actually this empty lot is behind my house. Stuff all over me here. Alright, so there's actually this empty lot, and then the granary is behind that. Actually, this lot went up for sale. I'm hoping that we can negotiate a price to purchase this land. Anyways, that's an aside. So the guy who owns this lot really could care less about the property or how it's maintained. So we've got all these branches that are overhanging over our side. And there are some over here which I can't do a whole lot about those, really. But this stuff I can get, and some of this over here I can get. So I've got some work to do. So we went and bought this little electric chainsaw deal that's on a pole. Nothing like a chainsaw on the end of a big long stick, right? Alright, so let me turn off the camera here and get to work on trimming some trees.